To learn the good, the bad, and the reality of the off-grid lifestyle, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. So I'm pretty excited. I know yesterday I told you that we got the trailer all cleaned off. We've got most of the trash picked up over on the other side. And then this side, we'll have to pick up still yet. Like I've said in several videos now, we are going to cut off the back side of this trailer because it's too close to the property line. It's actually sitting on the property line. After 2004, they changed the laws and said that you can't have anything that close to the property line. There's so many feet you got to be away from it. So we're going to cut it off. We weren't going to use this anyway, so it was just going to sit there. It would probably be pretty ugly, actually. We're only going to use 16 feet up here in the front as the actual house. And then maybe another 16 feet we'll use for a porch, maybe. No guarantees. So we're going to cut it off. And I started to use my jigsaw here to cut this. And it's working. I knew the jigsaw wouldn't cut it. It only took a few minutes to cut that much with the jigsaw. So I'm going to get a reciprocating saw. I've used reciprocating saws to cut steel before. You get a steel blade with a reciprocating saw, it works really well. Just got to be patient. Of course, I could run an acetylene torch. I could do a lot of things, but I need the reciprocating saw anyways. So definitely going to use the reciprocating saw. This morning I came up here to just look at our progress. And all these boards were sitting on the ground. This is what came off the trailer. And I thought, man, there's got to be a way to use this on our tiny house. And so I spent all day, I haven't done anything except thinking about what I want to do with these boards. How can I use these boards? And the other thing is with the pandemic going on, we can't really go out and buy anything. I know the Lowe's and Home Depot are open, but I'm not willing to go out in it. There's no reason to push my luck because I want to go buy something that I don't really need to buy right this minute. It's not essential. I think that's funny. Hardware store is essential, but I don't feel like it's essential. Secondly, the economic downturn has me really concerned. As I've mentioned in several videos now, I've lost several of my contracts. I should get them back when they get back into business, but they're non-essential business, so they had to shut down. And when they get back into business, I should be able to get my revenue stream back up. But if not, you know, I need to watch out for my savings. I don't want to just spend all my money on the tiny house until I have some confidence that the economy is back. Now, like I've said in the past, I'm only going to spend about $500 a month, treat it like rent, and I'll buy $500 in 2x4s or, you know, whatever it is. Maybe I'll build the floor $500 and then I'll build the walls $500 until it's finished. I only want to spend $5,000 on the entire project. But I also want to look for the sales and see if I can find materials that are next to nothing. Go to restock shops and you can get discounts at restock shops. So these are the kind of things I'm really looking at. Now, these boards are not in that great a shape, I will admit. If you look at them, most of the boards, the ends of them are rotten. But when you get into the center of the board, like this, they're like new. They're in really good shape. And so these came off the trailer. This was the floor of the trailer. These boards were used on the floor. They ran across from wing to wing. And that distance is about 12 feet. It's just under 12 feet, 11 something, whatever it is. 139 inches is what it is. 139 and a half inches. Well, these boards can't be used on the floor. If I'm going to continue to think inside the box, meaning if I do what they did and use a 139 inch board, which is what these are, these boards 139 inches across, I'm going to have to buy new boards. But I got to thinking, why do I have to use the entire board? Why can't I just use the good part of the board? Right? I can use that. There's nothing wrong with that piece. So I actually called my dad, who has built several houses in his life. He understands structural integrity and all that. And I designed this out. It's just a rough sketch of what I want to do. So if we look at this right here, this is how the trailer was originally built, minus the boards in the center there. Those boards weren't there. I put those there, and I'll explain that in a second. So that means that you have this outer board here that sits on the wings, okay? And then you have a 12-foot or 139-inch board that runs all the way across and connects into the next board out there. Well, of course, the boards that I have aren't good enough to use. See, this one has rot right here. You wouldn't be able to drill into that. You can't drill into this, it's rotten. But if you get into the center, perfectly good. So how am I going to do this? Well, I got to thinking about it. I was going to put a center beam in this thing anyways, just to give it more strength than what the trailer already had. And so I'd already planned on designing something that I could use on these center beams. Right? Like that. And so this is just a rough sketch. This is not actually how I'm going to build it. I'm going to use maybe a 2x4 or 2x6 or something. I'm going to build a beam that runs the length of the house right down the center of the trailer. That way, even if I were to use a 12-foot board, I would still have that support in the center, which the original trailer didn't have. Now, I've been in trailers, and I know that that the floor in the center of the trailer is very bouncy. This idea should have taken that bounce out. Now, still wanting to use the boards, and I know that all these boards have at least 6 feet of good material in it. Each board has 6 feet of good material in the center. I looked at every board and I measured every board, and all of them have 6 feet of good material. So that means that those boards cut in half, with the 6 feet, will run halfway across to the beam that I want to build. So using this idea, what I can do is I can hook a 6-foot board. Well, it's actually like 5.5 feet. It's 68.25 inches is what it is. And I'll run it right to the center. And then I'll run another one to the other side of the center. So I'll be able to use these boards by cutting off the rotted ends and using the good portion of the boards. Now, I did some price checking this morning, and it may not seem like a significant cost savings, but if I can do this all the way through the build, I may end up saving $1,000, $2,000 doing this. But just by not buying 2x4s, 12-foot 2x4s for the floor, I will save myself $100. Now, more importantly than saving the $100, I can start building the house. So while we're cleaning up this mess over here, I can start assembling the floor, and I can work in tandem. Now, this is going to cause me a lot more work because I got to take all the nails out of these boards. I got to cut the boards into 5-foot sections, 5.5-foot sections, 68.25 inches sections, and I got to thinking about it. So what? I'm in no hurry to get this thing built. We're in a comfortable position right now, staying in our camper. Nobody's bothering us. We got everything we need. We got heat, water, electric. So I can come up here and start dissecting these boards so I can use them, get the nails out of them, and slowly start building the frame of the floor. I really feel like this is a really good idea, and I feel really comfortable that when I called Dad, I sent him pictures, he immediately knew what I wanted to do. He said, yeah, that'll work, no problem. Now you got to understand, this is actually going to be stronger than the original trailer was. When you spread out a 2x4, whatever this distance is from beam to beam here, that's a long spread. I'm cutting the spread right in half. So I'm only going to get, 3 feet of section that's going to be out there all by itself? This thing's going to be solid. And then I can insulate it, and then I'll put plywood on top of it, tongue and groove plywood probably, or I can use 2x4s and actually create my own edging so I don't need a tongue and groove. This is going to save a ton of money if I continually think outside the box. A lot of people said I should use this tin roof for the roof of their house. If it was in better shape, I probably would agree with you. Definitely maybe for a chicken coop. We got a lot of this tin roof sitting over here. Got a bunch more stacked up over here that I folded up. But no, I probably won't use that on the house. But the point is I think as our retirement funds start to dry up and Social Security starts to dry up, we're all going to have to start thinking about living smaller. We're going to have to live in tiny houses, maybe off-grid. And we all need to start thinking outside the box. I've said that in several videos now. Thinking outside the box. I know people say that, oh, I can't think outside the box. You're really good at thinking outside the box. And I've said this in other videos. They say that necessity is the mother of invention. And the thing is, here's the thing. Once I get it built, then I can actually test to make sure that it's strong enough. If it's not strong enough, I can do one of two things. Well, it didn't work, and I'm out nothing but time. It didn't cost me any money, and I already had time on my hands because I'm stuck here, can't go anywhere. So I already had time on my hands to try it out. So if it doesn't work, I'll just tear it apart and buy lumber. Thanks for watching.